Hey everybody, Meriden Gaming here, and once again, it's time for another Borderlands 3 build video. Today we're going to be looking at my Flak build, the pet food build. Why do I call it the pet food build? Because your pet is basically going to eat everything alive. And basically you're just there to kind of augment him and help take down the shields and whatnot of the enemies while he just, rampages through the battlefield. So yeah. Let's get to this. So, the whole premise of the build is you make your pet as tanky as possible and you as less squishy as Flak tends to be, and you let your pet do most of the damage while you just kind of, help him take shields down, help him take armor down, and yeah, just slowly work your way through the battlefield. Because I do play solo, but I do play this in Mayhem 10, so it does work in Mayhem 10. You're not the fastest build, as some of the other ones, but if you don't have all the gear you need for some of the other builds, like the super crit builds and stuff, this will allow you to take on those bosses and whatnot, survive long enough to be able to get that better gear that you need for the other builds. So starting off, we're going to look at the hunter tree. The only reason we even put points here is because with some of the weapons that tend to work well for Flak, you need a little bit of ammo regen. Specifically the Monarch. You go through a lot of ammo with it, but it is really good at taking down armor. So, or the Light Show, which is another good one to use. You go through ammo with it really quickly as well. So, as long as you're getting critical hits, aiming for the head, because I do not have the extra things that give you the extra critical hits. This will help keep your ammo. I mean, you're still going to go down, but not quite as fast. All right, so for our equipped skill, we're going to be using Fade Away. This helps keep you out of harm's way, and gives you a couple bonuses, because you do have some skills that play off how much health you have and whatnot to give yourself damage bonuses and whatnot. Along with that, we're going to be using the Gorillas in the Mist skill, so that even when after those first 3 shots, you stay invisible for the entire duration. You don't get quite as much critical hit damage, but you're not the damage dealer in this case. Your pet is. And as far as the next skill, you can use any one of these 3. I tend to like this one just because it keeps my pet topped off, makes him more tanky, but if you're seeing that you're not really taking that much damage, which honestly mine, I swear it looks like his health never goes down, and I'm like, is that a glitch or something? No, he's just got that much health regen. So you really could take this off unless you're fighting a boss. That's the time that he will be taking some more damage, he or she. I'm not sure if that's a male or female. So then you can move into health regen for yourself and movement speed, or the extra critical hit damage for this. So actually that might be a good option. Anyway, so let's get into the actual skills. We put 5 points into self-repairing system. Basically, this gives you more maximum health, so you're not quite as squishy, because Flak is the squishiest of all the Vault Hunters. You will go down even with this build, but your pet can revive you, so that's kind of handy. And then it also gives you health regen, which also helps keep your pet up because of a certain skill that gives your pet a nice little bonus called All My BFFs, where your pet shares twice the amount of health regen. Which I still haven't figured out if that means it's twice the 50, so it's 100%, or if he gets 200%, but when you see in the gameplay, my pet just looks like he's taking absolutely no damage, even though he's right in the middle of it, so we could just kind of guess at that ourselves. Put 3 points into Sikkim. This basically gives your attack cooldown, so that ability when you hold the F button over an enemy and your pet runs over to attack that specific enemy, you get to use it more often, and it gives him extra damage on that. I believe it's the first hit, which we also have another ability that, on this first hit he does a critical hit. So that just gives you that extra, one shot whenever your pet hits it. So basically you can kind of move your pet around the battlefield to take out those ones that are giving you problems. Put 1 point into Eager to Impress. You could probably put a few more points into this. I don't kill enemies fast enough with this build because it's more on surviving rather than trying to do like those crazy crit builds that take those enemies down a whole lot faster. Because I just tend not to stay up as well with those builds. So I don't see as much benefit out of this, but I still drop 1 point in just to make sure. Of course, 3 points to all my BFFs for the health regen for your pets. I tend to solo stuff, so I don't get the added benefit of helping my allies. But if you do have allies, that helps even more. You absolutely have to have a point to lick the wounds. This is what allows your pet to revive you, and he gets a bonus damage for 60 seconds, 30% bonus damage. There's been times where I will intentionally get myself downed just so he can revive me, as long as he's close enough. If he's too far away, he may not unaggro off the enemy and come get you, so you want to be fairly close to him. He'll turn around, revive you, and then he gets that extra damage. So that's another little tactic that some people don't think about. If you're having trouble taking down a larger enemy like one of the super badasses or a boss, intentionally down yourself because he will revive you, and then you can get back into the fight, and he gets that extra damage. Then we put 3 into turn, tail, and run. Basically, whenever you're moving, you get health regen and damage reduction. So if your shield is getting pretty low, start doing that, and it will keep you start moving, and it will keep you up a little bit longer. And then whenever it does completely go down, it'll keep you topping yourself off with that health regen. And then when you're trying to focus on taking down a big enemy, you want to stop moving as long as you're not taking too much fire, because that will give you the ability to take down those shields or take down that armor. We put 3 into the Fast and the Furious. I still got a chuckle out of that one every time I see it. While you're above half health, Flak's gun damage and movement speed are increased, and their pet gains increase damage as well. So that's why we have so much health regen. This is what gives Flak the most benefits, I believe, in this build, and the fact that you get that extra movement speed. And typically with my class mod, I try to get at least 1 or 2 points into this just because that extra movement speed is very handy when trying to take cover around the battlefield while your pet takes down those enemies. Since I play solo, I still get targeted a lot, so I tend not to get as much of a benefit out of this. If you play with your friends more often, you could probably take some points elsewhere and put them into this, like the whole maximum health. You could probably drop a couple from here, put it into this to give you that bonus damage, as long as your friends are taking, or your clanmates are taking more of the damage, or taking more of the aggro than you are. Put 5 points into Rage and Recover. Basically, after killing an enemy, Flak and the pet regenerate health for a few seconds. This is another one where you could probably take a couple points out and put it somewhere else in the green tree, or even probably into the blue tree as well, because I believe I've got more points than are needed to get all the way down to your main skill. But since I'm a solo player, I need that extra health regen, because this is once again that whole 200% for my, or 100% extra for my pet. It keeps him topped off like nearly all the time. And then finally, 1 to the power inside. Basically, your pet and you gain increased damage whenever you activate your action skill. And if your health is full, that's why we got all the health regen. When you activate it, you get double, so 50% bonus damage. That is what helps you, along with some of the other skills, especially if we added this one in, to take down those larger enemies for sure. All right, now on to the beefy pet portion of the build. We're going to be putting 5 points into ferocity, basically pet damage. Pet damage, pet damage, pet damage. Because he's going to be doing most of the damage for you. 3 points into persistence hunter, basically gun damage and action skill duration cooldown. Or no, actually, yeah, duration. So that keeps you invisible for longer, so your pet is taking more of the aggro. We put 1 point into Go for the Eyes. This gives your pet that critical hit for the first hit and critical hit damage. This is one of those ones where you could take some points out of a couple of these other spots to add into here if you are playing with more people, just to give your pet that extra bonus damage. We put 3 points into Who Rescued Who. Basically, whenever your pet deals damage, you regenerate health, which in turn makes your pet regenerate health. And whenever you do damage, a percentage of it helps heal your pet. Then we put 3 points into He Bites, which is a nice little combo with Frenzy if you didn't know. This, even though it's damage reflected, counts as your pet doing damage. So even when he's not fully engaged, if he's still running up to those enemies, they are still helping him get his frenzy up so that when he does attack, he's going to do increased damage. Then we put 1 point into Psycho Head on a Stick. Basically, whenever Flak kills an enemy, their pet gains increased movement speed and damage. So when you actually get a few of those kills, it just, makes your pet that much more of a beast. 3 points into Hive Mind. This is basically to keep your health up and your shields up, because, like I said, you are pretty squishy, which is kind of weird for how big he is, but because you'd think Flak, he looks like a tank to me. I don't know about you, but yeah, he really can't handle damage all that well. So this just helps spread out the damage, and that's why we need our pet to have so much health regen and extra health and whatnot. Then we put 5 points into Barbaric Yawn. Yop? I thought I said yawn. It's Yop. Anyway, increases your pet bonuses granted to Flak. So any of the things that give, like your health regen here, that gets bonus. You could probably take a point out of this and put it somewhere else if you want to, but I just like getting all those benefits. Then 1 point into mutated defense whenever your pet's health is low, which is like never, but just in case you're fighting a boss that does a lot of, like one of those really big hits. It gives your pet health regeneration and damage reduction, and quite a bit of damage reduction. 30% for 6 seconds is a lot, really. And then, of course, it's every 15 seconds that can come back into play. We put 1 point into Shared Spirit. Basically, whenever your health gets low, your pet will take 50% of your damage. That's why we have all that health regen once again, because he is still really not taking all that much damage even when you're at low health because of all your health regen. And then finally, 3 points into Pack Tactics. Basically, all the damage dealt by Flak and their pet is increased. So that is always a good thing. And also your maximum health to keep you and your pet up is also increased. So next, we're going to look at the some of the weapons. Basically, you are there to augment your pet, like I said. So you want something that does quite a bit of shock damage to help take down those shields. He doesn't deal with shields all that well. My personal favorite is the Thunderball Fist. You could go for an electric light show or an electric monarch as well. I just have not got, actually that's on one of my other characters right now, so I forgot to grab it. But the electric monarch, I haven't managed to get one dropped yet. So I will have, once I get one of those, I might put it in. But I like having my ammo type spread out. So I like the Thunderball Fist for now. As far as the anointed skills you want to look for either action skill is active, where you do increased bonus damage. So when you're in your invisibility mode, you get that bonus. Or when action skill ends, I don't know if okay, action skill end, 15% life steal for a short time. That gives you your, get your health up. And then I don't have the other one. The other one is when your action skill ends, the next 2 magazines do like 100% extra shock or corrosive or whatever. Those are pretty handy as well. I don't have any, none of my weapons I use on this build actually have it. As for the next thing, the speed loading Hellwalker, any Hellwalker is awesome. This thing does a ton of damage. It doesn't proc all that often to set them on fire, but you can take down enemies, and you'll see this. You can take them down really quickly with this thing. And then if you watch any build videos for Flak, you're going to see people using the Monarch just because it is such a beast, especially when you go into your invisible mode and you get all the extra bonus damage. You can take down all kinds of enemies with one of these. I only have this one and a fire one, but I don't like having two of them because I tend to go through, well, at least not equipped in my bar here. I might have some extra ones in my inventory. Just because you do go through ammo so quickly, it's hard to keep two running at the same time. So I like to spread out my ammo. As far as shields go, you want something that's going to have quite a bit of shield with him because he is squishy. I prefer the Iron Maiden recharger just because that 40,000 shield, that's a lot. You can take several hits, even in Mayhem 10, which is what I use this on. You can still stay up for quite a while. And then on the action skill end, it gives me that extra damage. So even when I come out of my skill and I'm not getting that extra, 200% damage because of, or is it 100% damage? Because of my action skill is active, I'm still getting that extra. I prefer something other than incendiary, like shock or corrosive, but this is the one that I have that has the most capacity. The other ones I have only have 20,000, which honestly, you'll go down more often than when you have less, but you can still make them work. As far as the action or the class mod, what you're looking for is the Fast and the Furious, and then I can't remember the name of the blue skill right now. The orange skill is not really going to be working all that well, so that's the one I like to use, the stack bot. For your artifact, we are looking, this is the one that I prefer. It's a straight elemental damage boost. Since you're augmenting your pet, this gives you the shock damage and the extra corrosive damage to take down that armor and shields. This one has the added benefit of giving me 20% of my max health back whenever we kill an enemy. So it keeps you topped off, so you get those extra benefits of some of those skills. As far as the grenade goes, it really doesn't matter what you use. I prefer the action skills active or the on grenade throw. Those work really well, but it's really whatever you prefer. Now we're going to get into some Mayhem 10 action on Athena's. That's one of my favorite places to test just because there's so many different types of enemies, and you've got, armor and shielded, non-shielded, just a bunch of different options to fight. And then we will also get into the boss fight, Captain Trant. You will see that this one does not take him down quite as fast as a lot of the other builds like the crit builds and whatnot, but this build will help you survive long enough to get those bosses down and get those, specialty drops to put on those other builds that you want to run, like this, the super heavy damage crit build and whatnot. So basically, this one's designed to help you get all that extra stuff and survive in solo mode. But anyway, yeah, let's get to the action. Alright, on to the gameplay. I've sped up this clip about 50%, just so it does go a little bit faster. But as you see, I'm trying to help my pet take down those shields, because once they go to normal health, and then also you have to make sure he stays focused on the right enemy. As you can see, he keeps trying to go off that enemy, so I keep having to tell him, no, keep focusing on that one. That was a really big enemy that time, because he was one of the ones that had not only the shield, but also the armor, so he did take a little bit longer to get down. But as you can see, if you look at the pet's health bar over on the left, he doesn't go down all that much. Yeah, and I had to switch out weapons, where I actually had the fire damage to take down the enemy health bars. We see, yeah, we took down that enemy pretty quickly just from because we had the shock damage off my pistol. See, I take down the shield. He comes in, kills the enemy almost immediately. Your pet tends not to attack those health drones in Mayhem 10, so you will have to take those down. That's why I like the either the light show or the corrosive monarch, or the corrosive light show, that is. Yeah, see how much damage that thing does? It's ridiculous. And even, yeah, the big dude. And see, I go down. Oh, and pet's gonna come over and heal me, and then he's gonna get bonus damage. Actually, I may have gotten back up from the whatever you call it, second life ability. So he only gets the bonus if he revives you, not if you get the whole second life thing. So you have to be careful not to kill an enemy too quickly. Like you see, see I go into invisibility mode, stack up those Thunderball fists to get their shields down, then he comes in and just finishes them off. Well, that one I finished, but yeah. See, I can still play fairly aggressive with this build, even though I'm not the most damaging. I just don't have all the equipment to do some of the other ones, and we're just going to run ahead real quick. Get to the Captain Trant area, grab some health, and oh, I went down. But you see my pet's going to revive me.
That's my boy.
And then he gets bonus damage, and we're going to come deal with these enemies. I'm probably going to go down again. Yep. I mean, like I said, you will go down, but your pet gets you back up, gets that bonus damage. But yeah, you have to take cover, especially if there's a lot of big enemies around, but I can see the pet just runs through the enemies pretty well. And takes absolutely no damage. I mean, look at that, his health bar. I mean, he was taking on 3 or 4 enemies at once with them targeting him. His health bar didn't even move. Alright, so on to fighting Captain Trant.
Sniffed it out, did you? Keep them busy.
Here we go. So I'm sitting here trying to take down his shields, because your pet doesn't do well against shields. So I just sit here and take them down. I will have to say I did make kind of a mistake. I did not deal with the little mobs, so I will go down a couple times in this fight just because they're all targeting me, not my pet. Especially that dude that throws the frickin' lightning javelins. He is a pain. So now that all the extra enemies are down, the pet and I will make short work of Mr. Trant here. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this build video. If there's something specific you want to see for Flak, let me know. And once again, this is Meriden Gaming. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the battlefield. Okay, this clip didn't end as quickly as I thought. There we go, now he's down. Huh. Yeah, as you can see, your pet does a lot of the damage for you, and you just sit there and, yeah, augment him.